everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as I said at the start of the last one, is a really exciting one, and this one is even more exciting. My last video, as some of you may know, I talked through my whole vacation skiing experience at Eversheds Sutherland, but I did not yet know what the outcome was, and yesterday I received the best phone call of my entire life telling me that I have been offered a training contract. It doesn't feel real, honestly, and every time I think about it I'm just can't believe it. I'm so happy and so excited. So I wanted to film a Q&A today. I asked over on Instagram if you had any more questions about the whole process and about advice or anything, because as I now know that I have got the training contract, I'm happy to give more advice. As before, I was kind of more talking about my overall experience to help anyone who had a vacation scheme coming up. I'm now able to talk more specifically about kind of advice and things like that. So I have popped all of your questions into a little notebook here, and I'm just going to make my way through. And one of them was just to talk about how I found out and how they kind of contacted us to let us know that we had the training contract. So it was only about a week wait that I had to find out. I think it is quite quick compared to some other firms, so it wasn't too long of a wait at all. So they called me yesterday, I think it's about 5:30, so they told us it would be the week commencing the 5th of July, and I just thought after 5 o'clock, I just kind of thought, okay, so I won't be hearing from them until tomorrow. Yesterday I'd gone to have my COVID vaccination, my first one, and I didn't think I would, but I had a sneaky suspicion because I have fainted before at needles. I fainted. So it was a bit of a dramatic morning and I wasn't feeling great when I got home. I didn't really have any side effects, to be honest, other than a slight headache, and I had some paracetamol, and my arm is hurting. I can't really move it a lot today, but I did do an arm workout the day before my vaccine, so that definitely didn't help. But I kind of fell asleep really for the rest of the day and lay in bed and read my book and was kind of feeling a bit sorry for myself. So to get that call was amazing, but I'd had my phone by me on loud all day, and then it was the first time I left my phone unattended to go and make some food about 5:30. Came back up and I had a missed call with a message. Didn't even listen to the message, just called back. And yeah, they answered the phone, asked me how my day had been, and the lovely grad recruitment partner, Catherine Ely, at the firm, asked me how my day was, and I kind of told her about what had happened with the vaccine. And I just kept thinking, gosh, if she's calling to possibly tell me it's not good news, she's going to feel awful. But she said, I've got something to make you feel even better this afternoon and make your day a bit better. And I just I was in this room going, and I was just so happy, and definitely had a bit of a happy cry afterwards. So I think it turned a pretty eventful, not very good day into a really good day, and I'm going to remember that day for numerous reasons forever and ever. So it is just a phone call, and then they sent another email this morning almost just to confirm again and ask me if I'm accepting, and of course I did. So it's just been an absolutely amazing evening last night. I did kind of just reply to congratulations messages and sleep last night, so hopefully we'll be doing a little bit of celebrating this weekend, but I haven't really done much so far. I've just kind of been in disbelief and pure happiness. But yeah, I thought I'd just go through the little story of that with you. So the first question that I received this morning was, have I spoken about my YouTube channel, within my application or whilst I was at the vacation scheme or anything like that? And the answer is yes. When I first initially was doing my applications in January, I hadn't made my YouTube channel, or I'd only made one video. I'd made one video in September, so I didn't really mention it. I talked more about my Instagram and posts that I make, and a little bit about my blog and a lot of other extracurricular things that I do. But when it came to my interview in March, I felt more confident to mention my YouTube channel and just how I'd started making advice videos, something a bit more in-depth for people to watch, advice of just being a law student really. And then during my vacation scheme I did also mention it. We didn't have another interview, as I said, but it just kind of comes up in conversation. Like, I don't try and force it in there, but I was just chatting. You meet so many people and you talk to them, and it's normally for about half an hour because you organise a virtual coffee. And with a few people I did just in conversation mention my YouTube channel, and they all seemed like really interested by it. A few people asked when it was called and what my Instagram was called, and I also talked about my Etsy as well, about my little small business. So it was nice to kind of bring those things up. But yeah, if you have a YouTube channel, even if you have an Instagram page, use social media, even if it's not to talk about law, it doesn't have to be to talk about law, it could be about any of your interests, then definitely mention it, because it just shows that you're really passionate about something, you want to teach other people about it, you want to share your experiences. And it's made me so much more confident of a person. The skills that I've kind of learned, the communication skills I've learned to sit here and talk to camera, was very beneficial for me, as I was in front of a camera for the entire week because it was a virtual vacation scheme. So I mean, if you want to make a YouTube channel, don't worry about being embarrassed, just go ahead and do it. But yeah, that's a very long-winded answer for the answer is yes to that question. The next question is there anything you think you did to make yourself stand out during the vacation scheme? I'm not 100% sure. I think I just wanted to act myself, and I always wanted to do that and just be as bubbly and happy as I can be whilst also being professional. And I think I just got along with people so well, and that's something that I really noticed about myself, possibly above other people who were there when I was in a group, for example. I really chatted to everybody and talked a lot to everybody, and always had a smile on my face, asked how everybody's days was going so far. And a few people didn't do that, and sometimes I didn't do that if I was feeling particularly, sometimes I do have anxiety, so sometimes on a day I might have felt a bit more anxious, so I might have just said hello and kept a little bit more quiet and listened, or sometimes I took part a little bit more. But definitely in any one-on-one sessions I always have a nice chat with someone. I tended to have a chat with whoever I was talking to about a completely different topic, probably wasn't law related, for about 10 minutes before we even got into chatting about the law and the firm, because it's just nice to get to know them and to find out what their interests are and like relate to each other. And at the end of the day, they want people to work there who they get along with, because you're going to work with them every single day. So I think something I did that possibly made me stand out was to just have that part of my personality where I just want to get to know people and talk to people and be really friendly. And you've got to be professional, of course, but everyone there is just normal people, especially at Eversheds. I can't talk for any other firm, but everyone is so kind and always happy to talk to you. And I think something that surprised me was how casual people can be, and how they kind of just chat to you, like when we had the partner dinner, chat to you about what you're having for your tea and things like that. It is very casual, but then also you need to make sure you are professional at the same time. So I just pretty much acted as I do here. I acted myself, and I think that helped me stand out. Another thing that I did that I think made me stand out was that I did do quite well with all of the tasks that I was given. And you don't have to, of course, you're going to struggle with things that you've never done before, but I tend to pick up skills quite quickly, I think. I didn't have any trouble really with any of the tasks that I was given. And as I said in my previous video, some advice that I gave, which I'm very happy to give again now, because it definitely worked for me, is if you are given a piece of work, is to just make your way through it by yourself. They will give you a lot of pointers to start off with, but they won't tell you everything. Make your way through the whole thing by yourself. If it's a document, like I was given documents to fill in, Note down any questions that you have, maybe page numbers specifically, or clauses within a contract maybe that you've been drafting that you are unsure of. And also note down what you think you should put there, not just I don't know what I'm doing with that, but what you think you should do in that space. And then organise a call at the end and just go through the things you're unclear on and say, I was unclear on that, I thought that perhaps I should have put this here, but I just wanted to double check with you. And a lot of the time, pretty much every time, that ends up being correct, but it's good to double check. They want you to communicate, and it just prevents you from asking questions all of the time, because we had Teams and you can just send instant messages, and it was really easy to just ask a question, which is great, but also you don't want to, I think, use that too much. You need to show that you are independent and you can do it yourself, and check questions at the end. Yeah, I think that also helped me stand out. And in my reflections interview at the end, I call it an interview, but it was more of a discussion, but I think it was quite structured, so I would say it was probably an interview. The partner asked me how did I approach every task, and that's how I answered his question. I said I always worked through it by myself first, noted down any questions I had, and then approached my supervisor or my trainee buddy at the end to go through it, and it just made it so much more efficient. And he had a smile on his face when I answered that question, so I'm guessing it was the right answer and he was happy with that answer. So that is a good piece of advice from me, and I think it was probably those two things that made me stand out. The next question is, did you do any extra things that you talked about in applications other than outside of university? So yes, my YouTube, Etsy and Instagram were all things that I was able to talk about, and I think I really took things into my own hands. Like, I wasn't able to get a job because of coronavirus, and there wasn't a lot of things for me to do in the summer, so I started to really put a lot of time into my Instagram page and started a small business and started a blog and started a YouTube channel. So there's always things that you can do outside of your curriculum and outside of your university that you can use in an application that you can do by yourself, and it doesn't have to be law related. It just happens to be that all of the things I've done have been quite law related, but they're really interested in anything, so I mentioned all of those things. And then I have done a lot of volunteering also outside of university as well. I'm part of the Young Legal Ladies on Instagram. I kind of do their social media side, which has been really nice to be part of a group of such lovely ladies. And I have also worked as an intern at How Mental. If you look up How Mental on Instagram, they're a really big Instagram page who does a lot about mental health, and mental health is really important to me, so I worked with them for a few months helping them get their website up, and I wrote a few blog posts and did kind of like podcasts and interviewed different people and transcribed other people's interviews, and it was just such a lovely experience. And I talked about that a great deal in my interview for quite a while, and they picked up on that as well when they gave me my feedback from the assessment centre, and they said, like, everything that you've done specifically in terms of mental health we absolutely loved. So 100%, and I got that through LinkedIn. That job through LinkedIn, it wasn't connected with my university at all, and with the Young Legal Ladies I just kind of applied to do something I saw on Instagram. So there's lots of things that you can do outside of uni, and then there's loads of things you can do within uni, like pro bono. I did loads of pro bono volunteering. I was kind of like listing loads that I'd done during my interview, and she was just sat there like, how did you do all of that? But I definitely fit into a lot into my second year, because I hadn't done much prior to that during my first year because of coronavirus, and because I had a lot of anxiety when I started university and I didn't sign up to a lot of things. So it's never too late to sign up to loads of stuff. And yeah, definitely doesn't have to be things that you do within your curriculum, and it definitely doesn't have to be law related either. I also chatted about some part-time jobs I've had in a cafe and a milkshake stall as well, so there's loads of things you can talk about. The next question is, do you think being a second year undergraduate student affected your experience? So no, I don't think so. I also spoke about this over on my Instagram, I think in a Q&A I did last week. Someone asked me, like, do you think it was like put you at a disadvantage? And it really didn't. Everyone was aware at the point that I am in my kind of legal journey and education. Every single person I met was like, oh, you're the second year student, aren't you? Because I was the youngest there, by at least a year, but most people, I believe, had finished or were currently, finished their LPC, like just finished their LPC. So I definitely had a lot less, I think, legal knowledge than a lot of people there, and everyone was aware of that. And a lot of people said, wow, you're doing so well to be at this position like so early on, you're being so organised, that's great. And I kind of thought, oh wow, that's good. I'm worried that I'm not going to know what I'm doing, but I think I picked things up really quickly, and they were really, really impressed with that, considering that I had less experience than everybody else there. And they also marked all of the assessed tasks that we did against kind of what level you are at. So don't let that put you off or let you get nervous before you go into a vacation scheme or an assessment centre. If you were the youngest there, it really doesn't matter at all, because they really appreciate where you are in your career. The next question is, why Eversheds? So I absolutely love Eversheds Sutherland. It is my favourite firm, and I think even getting a training contract in general is an absolutely amazing opportunity, but to have that at your favourite firm in like the whole world is just magical. Like I just feel so happy. So I love Eversheds for a lot of reasons, one of them being the people there, as I've already mentioned before. They're just absolutely amazing, and I've come across them so many times, especially with my university. I go to the University of Nottingham, and they did a lot of different things with the firm, so I'd got to meet people from the firm plenty of times already, so I knew loads about them, and I'd met loads of people, and everyone was so lovely. I'd heard so much about kind of the structure when you're in the office. It's open plan, it's really easy to kind of talk to people, it's non-hierarchical, and communication is really important, and that is just something massively important to me. I am a chatty person, as you can tell, and I like working as a team, and then if I'm struggling with any tasks at all, or if somebody else is, I just like to be able to offer my help or ask for help like really easily, and to not feel uncomfortable or feel like I can't do that. And I never felt like that at the vacation scheme, and I just knew that as I was looking into Eversheds, I knew that's what the firm was going to be like, so that is a reason that I absolutely love them. Another reason is because of the quality of work. If you look up their clients or any recent stories, like they're just amazing, and they're also international, so there is a chance to kind of work for clients overseas and also discuss issues with members of the firm who work overseas. And also, they're probably not at the moment, but there are opportunities to do secondments abroad in one of their other offices, and client secondments, which everyone has the opportunity to do if they are available to you, and the opportunities there is just brilliant. And specifically the fact it is in Birmingham, I personally think it's the best firm in Birmingham, and that's where I'm from, and it's close to me. I can still stay home, not have to move to London, but also have the quality of work that I could get within London, and it's just the best opportunity, and I just love the firm so much. So that is definitely why I applied to Eversheds, and I feel so lucky to be able to work there from 2023. The next question is, what is your kind of top 3 pieces of advice for somebody who is applying next year? So I think this is a tough one, because there's different bits of advice that I could give for every single part of the process. For the initial written application, video interview, if you have a Watson and Glaser, I didn't for Eversheds, but I did for a different firm, and then also the assessment centre, interview, vacation scheme. There's so many bits of advice I could give for all of them. So if I was to kind of put it down into 3 that could stretch across all of them, it is to know what your personal strengths are. And now this is it's specific very much to Eversheds because of the way they assess you, but it will also work for all firms. So with Eversheds, another reason I love them is that their application process is strengths based, which means it's very much about you as an individual, which is so important to me. Because yes, it's good for them to know why you want to work for the firm, which they did ask me, but not until the assessment centre. They did not ask me that at all any part of the application until the assessment centre was when they were like, why Eversheds? Obviously, in my written application, when I was talking about myself, I always tried to link it back to Eversheds, which is something that you should try to do. Even if they don't ask you, try and link it back to them and link it to their values. But yeah, they never even asked about that. They always wanted to know about me as a person, my own experiences, my own strengths. So to have that own awareness of your own strengths and also weaknesses as well, because they will also always ask you about your weaknesses, is really important. So as you're going through and doing different things, for example volunteering or even doing a YouTube channel or something like this, always try and think when you're preparing for your written application, for even your assessment centre interview, think about examples of different things. So a time where you've worked as part of a team, a time where you've done something really challenging, a time where you've worked really hard to achieve something, for example. And just always, whenever you're doing these different experiences, think and note down maybe in a little diary what you were enjoying about it, what was challenging about it, what you learned about it, what would you do differently next time. It's just the same, those kind of questions come up like repetitively at all different points of the whole process, especially with Eversheds. So that's a massive tip of mine, is to just keep in mind what your personal strengths are, and yeah, think about them in this kind of broad way. Think about the positives and negatives about your experiences. The second piece of advice, again, is to be yourself and to be really friendly. Honestly, I think that is the thing that has got me all the way through to this point. I think I am quite friendly. I think, if I could say so myself, I kind of sat in, obviously I saw a lot of different people at the assessment centre and the vacation scheme, and everyone is always so nice, and there is always some people that stand out to you as being really professional and everything they say is really intelligent, and that's great. And I always think, oh my gosh, they're so good, but those people are not always the ones who get through. But sometimes it's not always about that, it's about being that like person who stands out because they are so friendly, because they are so nice, because they're so enthusiastic and specifically about that firm. Like every time I was asked about kind of my experiences so far, and a few people asked me, oh, is this like your first vacation scheme, how many firms did you apply to? And I always mentioned about how Eversheds is my favourite firm, it's my absolute dream firm. I think I said that to pretty much everybody, not on purpose, but it did tend to come up, and it's because it's true. Like, I want to work specifically there. It wasn't for me about getting a training contract anywhere, it is about getting one at that firm. So I think it's having that genuine love for the firm rather than just wanting to get a job. I think they can see that as well. Most people do just want to get a job, obviously, but I think for me, going back to that old question about what made me stand out, I think that might have been one of the things. And yeah, just always being friendly, always remembering just the simple things of saying, hi, how are you, have you had a good day so far? Just literally that. It's so easy to forget, but also so easy to do. My third tip would be just to kind of keep on top of your general commercial awareness, because it does really help. And I think everybody always feels a bit scared of commercial awareness. I know I did, because I really didn't understand it, and I didn't understand why I would need to use it. And it does come up in interviews a lot, but also just generally it helps you understand things a lot more. I just felt that during my vacation scheme I could just understand what was going on, and when they were asking me to do something in particular, I knew why that was happening or what was going on with certain clients they had, and it just helped me understand it a little bit more. It's not just so that you can ask loads of educated questions about very specific issues that are going on in the legal world, because I didn't do that. So I have had messages from people being like, I haven't had time to brush up on my commercial awareness before my vacation scheme, what do I do? I didn't either. I had my exam finish on the Friday and my vacation scheme on the Monday, so I didn't have a huge amount of time to do any more extra research. I just relaxed and went into it fresh, and the commercial awareness I had was just in my head from things I'd done throughout the year. It wasn't anything that I'd done in particular the weeks beforehand, so it's just keeping up with it throughout the year and to not panic about it. I didn't ask any fancy questions, you can do that obviously and it makes you stand out, but I just more asked very general things and things that I genuinely wanted to know rather than just trying to get a fancy question in there, if that makes sense. But for me, it was just the commercial awareness was just to help me understand throughout the week what was going on, and I just was able to take in things a little bit more. And also if they kind of said, oh, do you know why we need to do this? I'm like, oh yeah, I do actually, and then kind of say what the reason is. But I think that's definitely something helpful. So personal strengths and experiences, keep on top of those, be as friendly as possible, and keep on top of your commercial awareness generally throughout the year. And I do have a commercial awareness video on my channel if you're kind of a bit like, I have no idea how to start with that. It's really not too hard at all, so don't worry about it. The BBC News app on your phone will do you good anyway. Just have that on your phone and check the business news every day, and that'll help you in general. And I'm going to start doing my commercial awareness posts on my Instagram again now I'm a little bit more free. But yeah, those are my top 3 tips, and I think that is a really good way to end the video. Or I will do another Q&A probably in a few weeks or a month or so about loads of other random things that you guys want to ask me. But always remember that you can leave a comment in the comment section below or above, wherever it is for you on your screen, and also drop me a message on my Instagram at StudyLifeHome. Also add me on LinkedIn, that will be down below. If you ever want to ask any questions, I'm always really happy to help. And yeah, please give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!